Hi, and welcome back to the Adventitious Adventures podcast. Just a few things before we jump in. Thank you to anyone that has been listening so far. It means a lot to me, and I'm grateful for the support that I've been given. With that being said, make sure to like and follow so you know when there are any updates and when the episodes are released. Also, these episodes, as a reminder, can be found on YouTube, and for those who'd rather read the story, these original written episodes can be found on WordPress.com under the same name. Last time, the party had braved the underground temple, finding it to be a sham, only there to experiment on gullible people in order to let adventurers and would-be heroes test their might. Having found the woman they were sent to find, the party heads back to Meering, with that knowledge in tow. But will they be able to convince anyone of the truth? The story picks up once more with the party, broken and bleeding, heading back to the town of Meering. As they make their way through the streets, they see a large crowd gathered. Many of the people recognize Chop as they walk by. Eventually, the party realizes the crowd is gathered around the Temple of Light, and the form of Yolanda. It appears that the people they had found in the other temple had found their way back to Meering, and were recognized for who they were. The party debates if they should do or say anything about the temple they had come from, and the Temple of Light's involvement, but are not sure because of how beat up they still are. Malvis comes up with the idea of using thaumaturgy to let the public know what they had found, without implicating their involvement. However, something goes wrong with the spell, and he instead angers a halfling man near them, who takes his words as a pass at his female companion. After some angry discussion, Malvis is able to intimidate the halfling to leave them alone. While this was happening, Mitram was able to learn more about what was actually going on. It seems with the return of the people who had gone missing, there are many citizens who are now voicing their opinions and turning against the Temple of Light. Looking around at the guards, it seemed many of them were just trying to keep peace, or were interested in what was happening, instead of being aggressive with the public. Suddenly the crowd parts as 2 rows of guards push their way through, surrounding a small-statured human man. He's revealed to be the mayor of the town, and named Radley. He asks what is happening, and as it is being revealed, one of the rescued prisoners recognizes the party, pointing them out and claiming they would have proof of the claims. Now put on the spot, but not fully sure they trust this man, the party tells of what they had found, and agree that they do have documents to prove their story. During this time, Yolanda continues to argue and claim that the Temple of Light had no involvement or idea of this happening. The party obviously does not believe her words and try to catch her lie, with Malvis asking if she recognized this man after changing his face to that of the cloaked mage they fought in the other temple. Yolanda says she has no idea who that is, and continues to stick to the story that the Temple of Light is innocent. Radley, having had enough of the bickering, decides they'll have a hearing the next day in front of the city council. Since the party is not willing to part with the documents they have found, the mayor states they will be put up in a nearby keep for the night and retrieved for the hearing in the morning. Agreeing to this plan, the party follows some guards to the keep in question. It is not very fancy, having beds all in one room with only hanging sheets to separate them, but the party is able to have some food and get some rest and heal. In the morning, a guard knocking at the door rouses them, and after getting annoyed with the party's antics, escorts them to where the hearing is happening. As they make their way through the streets, it seems there's an anticipatory energy throughout the city. Many people are talking about the hearing and what will happen. Coming close to the council chambers, there seems to be a large guard presence, giving the whole ordeal an ominous feeling. As the party is led in, they see that Yolanda has been brought in as well. There are 4 members of the council: Radley, a dragonborn wizard, a lady historian, and a guardswoman. The council begins by recognizing Chop and thanking her for once again helping. The party offers up the documents and the journal they had found, and the council takes it, letting them know that they had looked into the other temple and had found much of what they claimed. The council then asks the party what they had found within the temple, and insists that anything they took from the temple should be returned. Most of the group keeps their mouths shut, not wanting to give up that they had found anything. However, Inara starts to take the bracers off before being nudged by Hobbs. They whisper debate about giving them up for a moment, eventually being noticed by the council. Inara is questioned about if she has found anything, but freezes, leading Hobbs to come to her rescue, claiming she was asking about finding a bathroom because of being on her period. Inara is mortified by this, but it ceases the questioning of whether she has something to give up. However, it also makes Chop go on a tangent about how halfling periods are different from other races' females. After a moment of chaos, the council is once more able to get things under control, and continue on with the hearing. The question of why no one from the Temple of Light would know what is going on if they are so eager to be part of the other temple is posed without a clear answer. Also, the party explains how the whole place was being controlled by a sorcerer. Yolanda is questioned about the accusations, but instead of hinting that she and the temple have any kind of guilt, instigates the adventurers who asked for the services the sorcerer claimed to be providing. The party fights against this narrative some, but before much else can be said, another person is brought into the chambers. According to the guards in Yolanda, Callie has been found to be the one to have been responsible for what was going on in the other temple. They claim to have documents that prove her guilty, which they found in her room. When questioned, Callie argues adamantly that she is not involved. The party agrees and backs up what she is saying based on the joy and purpose she had shown for the Temple of Light back when they met her. The council, however, decides to put to vote about whether they feel she is guilty and what her punishment should be, which ends up being death. This decision gets a strong reaction from the party, ending in Hobbs being asked to leave the chambers and Malvis being given a warning. The focus of the conversation changes slightly after this outburst, with the council asking Malvis about who Ula is. Apparently, it has not gone without notice that the rescued people came back talking about the deity and got to work building a shrine to her name. Malvis tries to explain about Ula, but the council gives a warning instead about how it would not be good to bring in a new deity who could be dangerous. This makes the situation heated once more, and Malvis pushes his luck too much and is escorted out of the chambers and off to jail for the night. Once things again settle, Mitchum attempts to smooth everything over, making a fairly persuasive argument. The council decides to halt their judgment and punishment until more decisive information can be obtained. With that, the party is dismissed, with the information that their companion will be released in the morning, so long as he will apologize to those he offended. Seeing nothing more can be done, the party leaves the building. Outside, they are approached by some familiar faces, Stephanie and Gear, and Samantha, and the man from the bar, who came up to thank Chop for sticking to her word and bringing them back together. After they leave, Stephanie reveals she was able to make contact with the local Thieves Guild, and the party tries to figure out what their next move is. As they're talking, Mitchum realizes that there are cloaked figures on top of a rooftop nearby, watching them intently. But he keeps the knowledge to himself for the time being, instead proposing that they split up, with one group trying to gain more information from the temple, another attempting to sneak into Radley's house, and also meeting with the Thieves Guild. However, none of these plans come to fruition because guards suddenly surround the party and arrest them. Meanwhile, Malvis has been brought to the jail and pushed into a cell. There are a few guards there, which he tries to talk to, but who are more interested in not conversing with him. He waits for a little while, and when the guards are distracted, places his vessel just outside of the cell and goes into it. This causes quite a commotion because the guards have assumed he has escaped somehow. Men are sent out to try and find him and to arrest the rest of the party. Once it is more quiet, Malvis comes back out of the vessel and back into the cell. The captain of the guard is called and blames the guards and questions Malvis, who says he was here the whole time. captain is not interested in any of the games and dismisses the guards that were there just as the rest of the party is brought in. He questions them all a little before deciding that they will be placed in the cell with Malvis for the night in order to watch them. They try to argue that only one of them truly needs to stay, but their arguments are shut down and they are locked up with new guards brought in. The night passes slowly, with many of the party being unhappy they are stuck here and not able to investigate the temple and Radley. Suddenly the guards who had been sitting playing a game are taken out by darts to the neck. Moments later, a small group of cloaked figures, like the ones seen on the rooftop, appear and start asking questions. They seem very interested in Inara and ask her where she got the necklace that she wears. She answers saying it was given to her by her mother, which changes the figure's tone. They ask for the party to come with them, but it feels like it would be slightly obvious that they had all escaped, so they instead just ask Inara to come. As the rest of the party is debating whether she should or shouldn't, she agrees and slips out of the jail cell and off into the night with the cloaked figures. They bring her through the town to a residential area, eventually entering one of the houses. Inside are more people dressed like the ones she followed. They lead her to another figure, a woman who is dressed similarly, but is also wearing a mask. The woman stands, also asking how Inara came to be in possession of the necklace. She once again responds that it was given to her by her mother. At this reply, the woman in front of her removes her mask, revealing her face and telling her that she has been searching for her for a long time. She tells Inara that she is her mother, and after a few more sentimental words, eventually asks her why she was in jail. Inara is still surprised and unsure, but wanting to believe, tells the woman what the party had uncovered and why they are there. Immediately, the woman tells some of the cloaked people to go to different areas of the city and, giving Inara a slight hug, sends her back to the jail, urging her to come back to her in the morning. A little while later, Inara returns to the party, still rather shaken. She takes the drink that Malvis was going to have and tells them about what happened and that she believes she has met her mother, and that she has been asked to return. The party seems surprised at the revelation and questions whether they can trust this woman, but ultimately seem to help Inara through this as the night wears on. True to their word, in the morning the party is released, with Malvis giving a fairly lackluster apology. However, before they can fully leave, there's a commotion, and they see Yolanda and Radley being brought into the jail and put into a cell. Apparently, it was uncovered that they had been working together and had known and funded the other temple. Feeling validated that the right people had been put to justice, the party heads back to the residential area Inara had visited the night before. Inara's mother greets them all and introduces herself as Anya before welcoming them inside. The party, having been told that she had left Inara when she was a baby, seem a little guarded, with Chop actually asking why she did it. Anya tells them that yes, she did leave Inara after she was born because her father and her had decided they could not keep her with them, and found a place that would be safe and help her grow and become strong. In other words, it was in her best interest and for her safety. Considering this an acceptable answer, at least for the time being, Anya changes the course of the conversation as Mitram notices his bag is glowing. Searching through, he finds the light is coming from the map the party had found when they were outside of East Bosch. Pulling it out, the map now seems different. Where there once had been water surrounding the lands of the north and south, now is revealed to be other land masses. Anya explains that the land they know is not the only land, and the bigger threats are coming, which they need to be ready for. With this revelation, Anya agrees to train all of them, and the party sets out learning and training in each of their specific skills. After everything, Chop is called away for some excursion by Titanius, and leaves the rest of the party to their own ventures. Inara decides to spend more time with her mother, and the boys decide to go shopping for some new armor. Hobbs, Mitram, and Malvis head out into Meering, finding 2 armor shops they can check out. The first shop is called the Fierce Knight, which they end up just referring to as the Sexy Knight. and is run by a small gnome man. He shows them some armor, which Mitram buys, but the other two realize they're too short on gold to get what they truly want, so they decide to check out the other shop. Entering Meryl's silversmithy, they find the shop is run by a female tiefling, who Hobbs keeps making awkward comments about her horns to. They realize they're still too short on gold to truly get much of anything, but Hobbs does purchase a smoky magical orb before convincing the shopkeeper to let them earn money for more things by telling others about the shop, which they then try to convince the gnome at the Fierce Knight to try out the competition. While the boys are shopping and Nara spends some time with her mother, Anya tells her of her father and how he is an elven man from the land beyond this land, but found a way here somehow, and they fell in love. She does not, however, say anything more about where he is now. Anya also tells her that she is actually a princess from a city called Asterly, but she left the city and ran away, no longer able to return because of the current government. She repeats that she wished they could have kept Nara with them, but it was just too dangerous to do so. About this time, Hobbs, Mitram, and Malvis return. They tell Inara they came to get her before they go to look at the job board for their next mission. She agrees and goes with them, where they find the address of a fairly dangerous-sounding job that had been mentioned to them earlier. Deciding to at least get information, they head to the address, which turns out to be a large gated house. A lady emerges, and after explaining they are here for information for the mission, she tells them about an abandoned underground facility outside of town. She says that the facility is powered by a magical source, which she wishes to obtain, so tasks them with containing the magic and bringing it back to her. Apparently, they are not the first to have tried, so the lady offers to give them half the amount offered now, and half upon their return. Instead of taking her offer, the party convinces her to double the amount if they forego the initial money. Leaving the woman, the party debates about how to proceed, eventually deciding they should try to acquire some kind of vessel and learn how to contain magic. They head to a magic shop called the Mirrored Butterfly. It ends up being run by an elven woman who has heard of them because of her friendship with Callie. They end up learning a little and buying an orb and a mace that both act as containers for magic. The elven woman continues to talk pleasantly, mostly with Malvis, who then in turn tells her about Ula. After a few moments, Inara cuts in, thanking the woman, seeming slightly annoyed with the woman's constant talk-up of her friend. The party then leaves the shop and heads out into the street once more. A group of those they rescued stop them as they are walking, asking Malvis a bunch of questions about how they can better serve Ula. They say they have built a shrine to her and are working on making a physical temple, but they're feeling like so far it has only been a one-sided partnership. They wish to have blessings from her. Malvis talks to them and assures them they will be given them in time. The people also ask what they should call him, given that he was the one who opened their eyes and settle on the voice of Ula. As the party leaves the group of followers behind, Malvis hears Ula's voice. She tells him she is happy about all of the new followers, but is disappointed he has not made more progress in his task of seducing Inara. Malvis argues back that it is not something that he can just rush into, or should be done wrongly, but will take time. Ula seems frustrated at this answer, and then offers him another deal, to sleep with anyone of his choice that night, and then cutting them off completely after mentioning her name. Malvis agrees, feeling unsure about that choice. The party continues through Meering, coming once more to the home of Anya. When they arrive, she talks about being able to help Inara in her true mission, mentioning vaguely the task she had been given before leaving the monastery. Inara welcomes the help, and Anya begins telling them about the same facility they had been told about hours before. However, Anya tells them that the magical source is a flame, and is of one of the symbols that Inara is looking for. She also tells her that the necklace she wears is meant to contain it. Now feeling sure they need to go to this facility, the party agrees to Anya's proposal of having dinner and bringing them in the morning. The night is pleasant. However, after everyone else has retired for the night, Malvis leaves the house and heads to a local tavern. He finds a young woman who seems to enjoy his company and follows through with Ula's request. In the morning, he acts completely cold to the woman, even tossing her money before leaving her. The woman seems not to understand and asks if she will see him again, but he does not answer, only mentioning Ula in passing as he leaves. As he makes his way back through the streets to meet up with the rest of the party, he feels horrible about what he just did. Back at Anya's, the rest of the party is awoken and is preparing for the mission ahead. As Malvis enters, it is almost like Anya can tell something is bothering him, and offers to help Malvis grow closer to Ula with a ritual. Setting everything up, he recognizes it as a ritual typically used to cut off magic, so is wary. However, looking closer at the woman's expression, he can tell it is almost as if she wants to talk to him, without talking to Ula. With that understanding, Malvis turns to Inara, asking her if she believes he can trust Anya. Inara answers that as far as she believes he can, so he enters the circle. Immediately upon entering the ritual, Malvis can feel Ula's presence no longer with him. He can sense Anya with him, and he tells him she wanted to talk to him and offer to help him because of his relationship with the deity. She says she senses he may not be completely happy with the arrangement, and offers to help him get out of it if he wants, just as the spell fades. Malvis feels Ula once more in his mind, and she seems upset and tells him not to trust Anya. The spell now over and the party now ready, they head out to the facility. They begin to go underground and eventually find a door. There's some deliberation, and Mitchum checks for traps before they proceed. There's nothing concerning, but the sound of falling rock can be heard. Preparing themselves, the party opens the door and comes face to face with a Galabdur. The party enters combat with the creature, which goes mostly okay, other than Inara getting hit hard. However, another creature appears, making the battle even harder. Eventually they manage to defeat the rock creatures and move on to the next room. There are 2 doors they can go through. Mitchum listens at both doors, and in one hears screeching noises, and at the other large footfalls and roars. The party is able to sneak a peek into the room with the screeching and discover 2 babau, or almost skeletal-like creatures with large claws and a horn from their head. Not knowing exactly how to proceed, Mitchum asks if Malvis can cast Eldritch Blast through the crack. He says it is not possible, so instead they have the rest of the group back up, and they throw the door open, sending the blast inside. The fight is rather hard, with a babau casting darkness to cut off the party's ability to see any of their movements. Malvis casts Sickening Radiance into the room to hurt the creatures, but it ends up hitting Mitchum and Inara, as the babau are able to evade. After some more time and fighting, the party is finally able to take down one of the creatures, the other moving further through the hallways and out of their sight. Patching themselves up as best they can, the party decides what to do next. This episode was kind of a turning point in our campaign, since it introduced some ideas and peoples that would set up a lot of the conflict, both internal and in the world, for the coming sessions. Personally, this was a cool episode for me because it delved into my character's backstory somewhat, and that's something that will also continue in the coming weeks. It also continued to just cement some feelings and connections between the party as a whole, and outline more of how they all fit together. One big example of this is the choices that Malvis made and will continue to make as the time goes on. As I've said before, we are entering a part of the campaign that was really my favorite, and I hope that as it is told, you'll be able to see why. Next time the party will continue on in search of the flame, but they'll also encounter a force of people whose arrival will send waves through the whole land of Nova Terra, and possibly beyond.